Most people would probably agree that one of the hardest parts, if not the hardest part, of anyone's personal music journey is simply starting it. Where to start or even how to get going are very, very big questions that you have to ask yourself. Tell me, have you ever felt intimidated by all of that? Has it resulted in you putting off or even avoiding taking that first step? If so, don't worry because I actually have some pretty good news. That's perfectly normal. Sure, there are certainly bumps and bruises like that you will have to deal with along the way, but ultimately, wanting to get into making your own music is truly an amazing and rewarding experience that I personally cannot recommend enough. It's something that I always get really excited about and admittedly will not shut up about anytime I hear that a friend of mine is wanting to give it a try for themselves. Of course, most of the time, whenever I hear about those kind of things, that familiar, where do I even start or how do I go about that is usually the but that is stitched at the end of that sentence. Things like, yeah, I want to get into singing, but where do I begin? Yeah, I think it would be really cool trying to write my own songs, but how does one even go about that? You see what I mean? First of all, you need to know that these are all very valid and logical concerns, but far too often I have seen people get so hung up on the how and the where, and it just overwhelms and frustrates them. They freeze up, get discouraged, and decide that giving music a try is, at best, a maybe later. If this sounds similar to you, I want to help, and that's where this channel comes in. I want to do what I can to help you fight back against that freeze I mentioned. Besides, if you're still listening to this, I imagine that you also believe that you are at least capable of doing that, right? Regardless of if you're struggling with common things like a lack of direction, a lack of time, a lack of confidence, or whatever else is getting in your way, I'm here to tell you that you absolutely can find your way in the world of music even if it feels like having to climb a mountain in the beginning. I don't care if that message sinks in from listening to me or from the many, many others that share this message. At the end of the day, I just care that you learn that about yourself. If, however, you do plan on sticking around here, then allow me to welcome you. Welcome to Three Strings Music. So, what exactly is Three Strings Music? Well, aside from being a bit of a brainchild of mine for the last several years, the main idea behind all of this is for me to pass along as much knowledge as I can about making music on to you. There's so much I'm looking forward to going over and exploring with you. Seriously, I'm so excited to finally get this started. At the end of the day, I want nothing more than for you to get just a taste of what it's like to be involved in this field. And trust me here, once you do, it's so much fun. After you get those first few aha moments and the light bulb flips on, the doors fly wide open as you see the potential in yourself. It's funny, really. I used to think that that whole I have an old guitar that's just been sitting in my closet image was a silly cliche that we used. But after talking to some people, I was genuinely surprised that more often than not, that's quite literally the case. That being said, if you are indeed somebody who does have a guitar or any other instrument that's just been gathering dust in your closet, be it a literal one or a figurative one, then I want to encourage you to just take it out. Seriously. If you end up pulling that old guitar or whatever else out and just start playing around on it for just a few minutes, even if you only do it one time, then I will have done something right for you. Now, I'll try not to spend too much time on this next part because I do want to make this all way more about you than about myself. But if you want to know a little bit about who exactly I am and why I want to share this stuff with you, my name is Clayton Roberts. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I've been playing music for a little under 15 years now, and I've been writing my own songs for about 9. Here's a brief summary. Thanks to my dad's job in radio, I grew up around a bunch of classic rock influences, my personal favorite being Rush. And eventually, I picked up my first guitar back in the summer of 2007. About 5 years later, in early 2012, I took a very unexpected turn in my life, and playing music led me to get heavily involved with producing fandom content here on the internet, specifically music in the Brony fandom of all things. That's right, My Little Pony. That's when I decided that I wanted to take a swing at writing my own songs, even if cute technicolored ponies inspired 90% of them. To this day, I'm still deeply involved in that community, writing songs and traveling around the country to perform at their conventions when I can under my handle and separate channel, Do the Daring Do. As a result, most people just call me Dewey, and they actually recognize me thanks to this hat of mine. And on top of that, very few know my actual name. And as far as what kind of music I write and play, I like to dabble into what I can, but most of my stuff is very much in the rock and acoustic realms with some blues influence here and there. Here are just a few quick examples of some of my stuff. Let it be known that we were here. We were here. I don't need to be high up in the sky to know just what it's like to soar. I can still feel the wind splashing in my face. The rush of breeze gives me watery eyes. Fly to me, so fly like I do. So much more, fly like I do. You're burning bright, brighter than I ever wanted to see you burn. You're burning to the point of no return. Now, that's all well and good, but I hope you know that a lot of what I'll be teaching on here is universal with music, so don't worry if you aren't making rock music as well. Much of this will still apply to other genres. Of course, that all isn't really that important on here. What I feel is way more useful to you, however, is the perspective that I can offer you. The truth of the matter is that I personally have never written a Grammy nominated song, and truth be told, I probably won't anytime soon. Taking it a step further here, as of the making of this video, I personally have never even set foot inside of a professional recording studio. To this day, every song I've ever written, recorded, and posted to the internet has been from either this spare room, my bedroom from when I live with my family, and even the closet in my old apartment. That's kind of the beauty of all of this, though. While all of what I said about Grammys and big studios would be wonderful and a ton of fun, they are all still things that would just be nice to have. But you don't need any of that to make the music you want to. You don't need Grammys, you don't need 5-star credentials, you don't need racks upon racks of high tech gear, and you don't need to be blessed by Mozart or David Bowie to do this. Again, I don't have any of that. Understand that every day, more and more people are producing music in their bedrooms, and I've heard some amazing music that was made in that exact same way. This is truly a colorful and exciting time for anybody to hop on board. So why not you, yeah? That being said, there are a few things that I would say you do need for this stuff, but the good news is you don't have to go spend a bunch of money on plugins or go buy a new microphone to make it happen. Do you remember earlier in this video whenever I talked about overthinking the how and the where? A good first and foremost thing for you to tackle is to simply ask yourself better questions. Instead of asking how and where, ask yourself what and why. What exactly do you want out of all of this? What do you want to learn? What instruments do you want to play? What songs do you want to write? What shows do you want to perform at? Why is doing this so important to you? Why does it sound like a fun hobby? Or why is this something more than just a hobby to you? Why are you passionate about this? Do you see what I mean? When you stop and think about these kinds of questions instead, it gives you an even clearer picture of who you are and what you want to be with this. I believe there's a really good Les Brown quote here that says, "When your why is big enough, you will find your how." And if you ask me, that very much applies here. And you want to know something really cool about all of this? Whenever you understand this concept, it actually has a nice little side effect that opens you up to asking better how and where questions. You start asking yourself things like, how deep do you want to go with all of this? How will this impact your life outside of music? Where do you want this to take you? Where does your why come from? Listen, if there is any one thing you take away from this video, please let it be this. Whatever your musical hopes and dreams are, you can achieve them. You can do this. Not only that, you can start your journey down this path anytime you want. You absolutely can do this whenever. There's just no such thing as starting too young or too late in the game for this. That's just straight up myth. And since I personally love quotes so much, have another gem, this time from George Eliot. It's never too late to be what you might have been. The truth is that I don't have to meet any of you, nor do I have to know anything about you personally to know that you are all capable of making wonderful music. All you have to have is the desire to try, to learn, and to grow. And honestly, that's what music should be about, anyways. It should be about celebrating growth together. In fact, I would like to start all of this off with as much positivity and encouragement as possible. It does not matter to me if you are watching this video shortly after I post it or if this is several years later. Whenever you're watching this, I want you to leave a comment down below that tells us who you are and what you want to do. Be it playing guitar, singing, songwriting, production, whatever it is. I want you to share as much or as little as you are comfortable telling us. And most importantly, I want you to add at the end of whatever you say, I can do this. Here's a short example. My name is Clayton Dewey Roberts, and it is my dream to show you all how much fun music can be and how capable you are of making your own. And I can do this. Thank you so much for listening to me. I have so many fun and exciting things to share with you, and I can't wait to start this journey with you. In the meantime, please take care of yourself, stay safe, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.